What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be making that secret room that you saw in the intro to the video. So if you're in my project, you can turn off room number 0 and turn on room number 4. Remember, room number 4 is the secret room. So the way this is going to work for this video is we're just going to be making the secret room itself. We're not going to be doing the logic that actually allows you to find and blow up a hole in the wall and go into the secret room. That logic is really complicated. We'll save that for the next video. So we are going to do it, but this video is just going to be about making the actual room itself. So in the preview, there was no walls, right? Like they were just like shadow walls. They weren't like this at all. And then the plane needs to be completely black. So there's a material called pure black in my project. If you're not following my project, you can create a pure black material just by right clicking, create material, and you just have to change the shader in the drop down to unlit. Make sure you choose universal render pipeline unlit and just change it to black. It's just a pure black material, right? So yeah, and then you just have to drag it onto the plane. And I'm just going to delete this because we don't actually need that. We also need to delete these doors, okay? We are going to be using doors, obviously, but we're going to be naming the doors the same thing so that our script that we already have works. But we need to create their portals. In the preview, they're actually portals. They're not the way that it was. So this is the starting point. So let's create a folder called effects, and then let's create another folder called secret room. So we're going to put all of our effects into this secret room folder, okay? So to do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a visual effect graph. Now, if you right click, you should be able to create visual effect graph wherever it is. Hang on. Oh, this is actually a good example. So I don't have the visual effect graph enabled yet. So if you go to the very top of your project to the window drop down and you go to the package manager, just at the top, change this to Unity Registry. It'll be in project, but just change this drop down to Unity Registry. Then on the right, type in visual, and there should be a visual effect graph option. Just click install on that. So that should take a little while and then it should finish. And then after you're done that, you should be able to right click and create a visual effect graph. So under visual effects, just click visual effect graph, and we're just going to call this secret room wall. Okay. So when you, so to use this, you're going to drag the secret room wall into the walls folder. If you're using a custom project or your own project, just drag it, create a game object, like create an empty game object, and then just add this to the game object. If you double click on this, you should see that there's like this visual effect graph going on, and we're just going to drag it over here to the left wall for right now. So if we click edit, so when you click on the visual effect graph game object, there's a visual effect component inside of the game object. Click edit on the right side of it, and you should get this visual effect graph pop up. So I'm going to drag it and just put it over here on the left. And I'm going to get rid of the blackboard, which is where you can save variables. And we might use it, but just not right now. And I'm just going to zoom in on it for right now. So this is the visual effect graph, and this is what actually made those cool effects like the walls and the portals, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the constant spawn rate to 1000, and then we're going to change the capacity to 4000. So then if you use your middle mouse button, you can move around in the visual effect graph, and right below where it says velocity, just press space and type in the word line. You can set the particles to spawn in a line, right? So then we want to extend this line so that it's taking up the entire wall, right? So if you look carefully, you can see that this blue lines, this is the Z axis. So you can use that to determine which direction you want to extend it in. So if you press this drop down beside the line, you can set the start of Z to be like, let's just leave it at 0, and then we'll do -50. All right, so since we left it at 0, right, it's starting in the middle point. So if you want to, you could do -25. 25 in the Z-axis. And let's actually just make the start 50. All right, so 50 to -50, because we know that the plane is 100 in size, right? So setting the start point to 50 is moving it over left, right? And then setting the endpoint to -50 is moving it over right. So then the origin of this is still in the center. So it's still going to be like in the middle. So we want these to come up more than they are. So right now they're only coming up to 1 in the x-axis. So if you look at this, you've got this yellow, this green line. It looks like it's the y-axis that they need to come up in. So that's the velocity, right? So we could make the line a little bit thicker if we wanted to. So instead of just having a 1, we could make it a little bit bigger, but we don't actually want to do that. So we just want to change the y in this set velocity to 5. So the velocity is like the speed, right? So like how fast it's going. So right now it's going between 0.2 and 5. Let's just change it to 0 and 5. They can stop at the bottom, that's fine. And then you can choose the height for how high you want these to go. So like the higher you raise y, the higher they'll go. Okay, and obviously if you make them higher, just make sure you're looking down so you know what it actually looks like. So we're gonna completely change the particle that's actually coming out, but this is how we made the wall. And this is really cool because this means that you could do any type of drawing in Sketchbook and apply it to the particle, and your wall will have that effect in it. So you could do like a lined wall or like whatever you want to do, right? So this looks really good. We just need to change the size now, okay? So if you go to the bottom in the output particle quad, we're just gonna turn off set size over life, and we can actually delete that for right now. We might use it at the end, but we're not gonna use it right now. And right below select set velocity random, if you press space, you can type in set size. And we're just gonna set this to, it doesn't matter what order it's in, by the way. We want this to be random. So if you click on set size on the right, on the top here, you can see that there's like a random option. Turn it to per component. When you select different components of the visual effect graph, these settings come up in the inspector, right? Just like everything else in the game, there's like an inspector and there's like settings. So we're gonna set the size to a random between 1 and maybe like 5. Okay, so this is looking really cool so far. So we want probably we want to set the lifetime to longer and the speed to lower. So let's set the lifetime to 1 to 10, and let's set the speed to like 5. So it just comes up a little bit slower. Just like that. I like that a lot because then it's slower, so the particles are like closer together and it just looks better like this. So we need to get rid of this particle. I don't know if I have the particle that I used in this one, so let's see. I think I might, I'm not sure. So let's just, if you go into the main texture, you can type in particle, and we've got test particle here. Let's see how that one looks. So let's double click that one. Okay, I'm gonna be uploading a particle to the description of the video. I don't think that's the one I use. Let's just change the color and see if we can get it to look the way we want. And then if not, I'll go into my other project and find the particle I used. I will be uploading the right one. The one from the intro video is the one that I'll be uploading to the video. So you'll be able to download that from the description. So let's start the color out. So there's a set color over life here at the bottom right. Let's change the color to start as black. And then we want this to be black all the way to very close to the end, right? So we need to add a key to the gradient here, right? And we're just gonna change this to be black all the way to near the end. And okay. And so this is what I did in the other one, but it looks better in the other one because the particle is better. I'm gonna go find the particle and yeah. Okay, so I went and found the particle. So basically all you have to do is when you drag it into your game, you should be able to import it using, I'm going to be uploading this particle to the description of the video. So you can just, when you download it, it will be in a package format. So you just have to double click on the package with the project open, and you'll have the option to import it. And it should start as a sprite for you if you do that. But if it's not a sprite, you just have to change it to a sprite and press apply. After that, you can drag the particle. Sorry, make sure it's the one that particle test is the one. Drag that into your visual effect graph, and I actually changed a lot of settings. I had to go into my other project to actually match it up because I spend usually hours on these just messing around with them until they look the way that I want. So I'm just going to go through the settings really quickly, and you could just copy them. So there's 1500 as the rate, 4000 as the capacity. We're setting the position to align. Again, it's these are the same settings that I think I already showed you. The size random is between 2 and 10. The velocity is -1 and 1 on both X and Z, and 0 to 10 on the Y, right? So it's going up 10 vertically. We set the lifetime from 2 to 4. We had this at lower, but the thing is like this. So if the higher the first number is, the later that these gray particles will start, right? Because you're doing color over lifetime. So if some of them have 0, then there'll be gray particles right at the very bottom. And we don't actually really want that. So then at the very bottom here, I changed there's no set size over life, and I've changed the set color over life to be this. I'm still probably going to mess with this a little bit. Like there should be a distinctable difference between like this one and the end one. So maybe this could be like a little bit darker. Actually, it's already at 10, which is pretty low, but maybe this could be like slightly lighter. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with this on camera, but you could just play with it yourself and get the colors that you like. So now that we've created one wall, we need to duplicate this. So let's save this, and we're going to dock it up here. And then we're just going to go and we're going to take this wall that we made. And you don't really need to name it, but press Control D on your keyboard that duplicates it. And you can just drag it to the other side. And you can press Control D again and move it about here and do 90 on the Y axis and just move it to the wall. And just set 0 in the X axis so it's exactly in the middle. It's important that it's exactly in the middle, obviously, because if you're looking top down, you'll be able to see if it doesn't exactly line up. The Z can probably be 50, right? Oops, I'm not typing in the Z. And we should probably do this for this one as well. So this should be -50 in the X. This should, the first one should be +50 in the X. You should make these the exact numbers because it will look better if it exactly lines up. And then we could take this one, press Control D, and then just put it to -50 in the Z, and it will exactly be lined up. So far so good. So we have one part done of the 3 things that we have to do. So now we want to go back into the secret room where we made this effect, and we want to press Control D on it, and we're going to make this the secret room portal, and we can go ahead and drag this into the doors folder, right? So we're going to make the doors first. Actually, we should make it on the ground first, and then yeah, so we'll just drag this into the plane and just change it back to 1, 1, and change the plane to be 1, 1. No, you can't do that. Never mind. Let's put it above the plane for right now. We don't actually want it to be that big. We just want it to be 1 and 1. So if you're looking at this right now, right, this is like the same as the walls, but we actually want this to be a circle instead, right? So the circle on the floor is going to be different than the portals, I guess. So anyway, if you double click on the portal, you can click edit, and we're gonna do the same kind of thing, right? So let's drag this to the right, and we'll look at this on the left, and we'll move this over. So we can leave the constant spawn rate and the capacity, those are fine, but instead of setting the position to align, we're actually gonna delete that, and we're also gonna delete or turn off the set velocity random for right now. So then we're going to press spacebar, and we're going to type in the word circle, and there's an option to set it to an arc circle, right? And we just need to make sure that this is okay. So our portal is needing to be 90 on the x-axis, so it's facing upwards. And then we want to make this circle a little bit bigger. So if you go into the circle in the visual effect graph, there's a radius. Let's make the radius 5, so it's a little bit away from the center. And let's make it actually 15. This is going to be the size of the circle on the ground. Okay, so this is super important. That's the right size that you like. And let's just take the position on the y-axis and move it up so it's not inside of the ground. So, okay, so now we have this circle, right? But this isn't actually what we want. We want it to be different than the walls. It shouldn't be like exactly like this. So we're going to turn the set velocity back on, but instead of it going like it is right now, which is going that way, we want it to be going in the direction that this particles have spawned. So set the X and the Y and all these values at the top to 0, right? And then we want to right click in the space in the left, and we want to get the position. Okay, so we're getting the position of where it is. So it's going to be in a circle, right? So we're going to just put this into a multiply node, and then this number is going to end up being the speed that they're going away from the center, right? And we're going to put this into the B value of the velocity. So now you can see it's going in all directions, right? So this is going way too fast. Like the particles are going flying off into outer space. It does look really cool, but that's not what we're going for. If you want to make like a cloudy room, you could totally use this for that, right? Like if you wanted to have it like this, I mean, it looks pretty cool to me. But yeah, this is actually, and then you could set like the because it's black in the middle, so you can't see it, so you could set that to be a different color or whatever, right? We just want to set this to like 0.1 for right now, and it might even be less than 0.1. It's not. So then we're gonna set the size between 0.1 and that, and we actually want to lower the radius of the circle a little bit. So if we go into the arc circle, just change the radius to 10 instead. And then just turn this up to like 1. Let's see how that does. That's pretty cool. Let's just do like 0.5 maybe. We want it to go away a little bit, but we don't want it to be like so far away from the center that like, I don't know. Okay, and then we want to go into the set color over life for this one and just move this out a little bit. We don't want any hard like visible circles in the middle area. Or maybe this should be like this. No, it is better like this. We could maybe set size over lifetime. So press the spacebar in the set color over life and type in set size over life. And then we just want it to be starting at 0 and then going up. While you have set size over life, in the inspector on the right, there's like a composition. Just change this to multiply. Okay, and then we want the actual size to be a little bit smaller. So let's just change it down to 5. Dark size can be 1, so there's no 0.1s. Maybe 7 could be good. All right, so this is kind of like what I have in the other one. I am going to be uploading these visual effects to the video, so I'll be uploading these so you can actually download them and just import them into your game without actually doing any work. If you try to make this and it doesn't work the way that you want, I'll attach the visual effect to the video so you can just download it and put it into your project. But yeah, this is looking pretty good for this. Okay, so let's save this one and let's drag it to the top. And then we just need to make the last one, which is the actual portals that go in front of the door. So let's make this off over here because this is getting really, really cluttered, right? So let's take the secret room portal that we have and we'll press Control D and we'll just call this portal door. This one should have been called like floor ring or something else, right? And then we're gonna drag this into the door folder and we're just gonna move this off over here. So for the actual portal door itself, we're not starting at the very, like, there's no ring in the middle, right? So we want to go into this and just click edit. And we can drag this down again and do the same thing where we move this over. So we don't want the radius to be this big in this one because we want it to come from the center. There should be black all the way and then like the outers should just be like colored. So what we want to do is change the radius to like 1. So it comes from the middle and it could actually be less than 1. So we want the speed though to be more. So let's just do 2 for right now. And let's change the lifetime to 10. And then this color over lifetime, it really needs to be compressed right till the end. So this should be black, like completely black up to this point. And then this speed random, oh sorry, this random needs to be 5 to 10 and the speed random needs to be okay, and I completely changed all the settings off camera just because this is taking too long to actually do. So usually when I make these things, like I just have fun with it. I could spend hours doing this, right? And we can't spend hours on camera messing around with this. So I'm just going to show you the final settings that I have. So 1500 for the rate, the capacity, I just put that to 20,000. It could probably be like 10,000 or like, it doesn't actually have to probably be that high, but you have to make sure it doesn't restart while it's going. And it's based on a lifetime, right? So if it's living for 5 seconds and it's generating 1500 per second, you could do the math. So 5, 10, 15, what am I talking about? It's 7,500, isn't it? Let me just do the math. I can't do math in my head. 5 times 1500, 7,500. Yeah, that's right. So this could actually be 7,500. If you have a bad system, you should definitely use that limit because the memory that gets allocated is based on the capacity for visual effect graph. But anyway, so I also created another multiply from the current position, and I set this one to 10 and this one to 25. So this matters because this is where the white particles will start. So if you don't, like if you have some at 0, that means white particles can spawn in the middle, and the closer this number is to this number, the lower the gap is between the white particles. So like if you set this closer to like 20 or whatever, right, it would put the particles closer to the edge of the portal. So if you want, you can have them more flush to the end of the portal. I'm just going to put it back to 10 or maybe 15. I don't really like that. I like having them more mixed without. But yeah, I think this looks really cool. And I'm going to be uploading this again. All of these will be uploaded to the description of the video as a package. And you could just download it and double click it and put it into your game. I think this looks really, really good. And then I changed this completely, the gradient. So it starts at 100% alpha. The other one doesn't do this, right? So it starts at 100% alpha, and then it's full alpha to this point, and then it starts going down to 0 from there. And then this is all the way black, and then this is like a light gray, and then this is a darker gray. Yeah, just play around with these colors. Like I said, I'm going to be exporting this, so if you can't get it the way you want, you could always just copy mine. So now that we have a door, we need to name this left door, right door, top door, etc. Because in our game, our code is referencing that, so that's how you can go through the door. So let's move this. Hang on, where is my... Oh, it's way off center. Awesome. Oh, I have the wrong thing selected. Shit. Okay, make sure you select the actual door. So let's put this like right here and just move it up. And so make sure if you're setting the doors or whatever, you want to make sure you're looking Z forward. So in the top right corner, there's like the little axis thing or whatever. The top door is the higher Z number. So if we click on this portal door, we can move it to about there. And we just want to set this to bottom door. And then we're going to just, obviously, we'll just duplicate this and move it here to the top. And we'll call this top door. And then we want to duplicate it again. And we can call this left door. And we want to rotate this one 90. Oh, not 90. That faces it upwards. Although that does look cool. That might even look cooler than the middle one. And we'll just put it about there. Again, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to be doing the exact numbers because we don't want it to be inside of the other one. And then we can duplicate this again with Control D and, oh, there it goes. Okay. And then we'll call this right door. And yeah, just put it like towards the edges. Okay, so this is really good. So then what we want to do is, let's save this. We want to go into all 3 of these. Okay, so some more things to change. So in this culling flags, so make sure you have all 3 of these selected. Where it says recompute bounds and simulate when visible, change this to always recompute bounds and simulate. Oh, so these doors, they all need to have colliders on them, right? So because we're using a visual effect, it doesn't come with a collider. So just add a box collider to them. And you just want to drag it around. For this, it could be really hard to actually see what's happening, but if you get stuck, you could turn on isometric mode. And we should have done this before we actually copied it. So what we can do is we can actually copy the component of the box collider and just click on each of them and just paste the component as new. They should make it the exact same size. So again, you could just paste this component into all of them. Okay, and then the floor already has the mesh collider, which will allow you to walk on it. The walls don't have colliders either, so we need to add a box collider so that you can't walk through it, right? So like you shouldn't be able to walk through the wall, and just make it large. Like it should start in the right spot. Yeah, and they can overlap each other, that's fine. So just copy this component. And again, I wonder if you could paste it on all of them at the same time. So if I go into third one, oh, cool. So you can paste it on all of them at the same time and it will just put it in the right spot. Yeah, so you need obviously colliders so you don't walk through the wall. So let's go ahead and save this. And if we turn off room 4 and we turn on room 0, when we walk into the secret room, we should see this cool glowy secret room area. All right, here it is. So we should be able to walk into it and it should turn on our... Okay, so set 15 and 100. Let's see like if that works. Okay, so when you walk into this room, we really want it to just it should immediately appear. You shouldn't have to wait for everything to appear because like it's been running, obviously. The only reason like you do a slow appearance when you blow up a hole in the wall is because you've just blown that hole up, right? So it slowly appears. But for the actual secret room itself, it should be, yeah, so let's give this a go. My video is going to be really long. All right, here we are. So it only generated one of the portals, which it's fine. It doesn't matter. But this looks really, really cool. Like, and you know, you can play, for me, I would probably make it a little bit darker, but when I'm showing these videos on like YouTube and my Instagram and stuff, it's very hard to see. Like when I make it darker, it's visible in the game when you're playing, but for people that are watching, it's very dark. So I would maybe make this a little bit darker and make the particles darker, but you could do whatever you want to, right? And you can leave the room and you can go back in it. The offset should be significantly less, I feel like. So we're not going to fix that right now. And then in my game, there's going to be like an item in the middle here that only spawns sometimes, right? So if you've already been in this room before, you could get the first clue from here, and the clues are going to be what reveals what's happened to Sticky, how he got into this dungeon area, right? So in my actual game, there could be like it's going to be like a scroll, and you'll be able to pick it up, and there'll be like a riddle that appears when you pick it up that like tells you like a clue of like how Sticky got into this. I've already written the story, but I'm obviously not going to reveal it right now. You're gonna have to play my game to figure it out. But yeah, I think this turned out really good. Like I said, everything here will be downloadable in the description of the video for free. So if you followed this and you didn't get where you want to go, I recommend following it. I don't recommend just copying my work because then you don't know how to do it, right? But yeah, you should be able to download this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.